So this is a video suggested by a subscriber. This question is from the Cambridge board of AS level. It's from the March 2021 variant, and it basically says that you've been given 3 points that are on the circumference of a circle, and you need to find the equation of the circle. So let's forget about this question. Let's say if you're given any 3 points on a circle, let's say 5 comma 7, 7 comma 11, and I don't know, something like, let's say 2 comma 3. Now this question is like a classic Cambridge board question. They appear in past papers a lot. So students are generally taught you that you can just follow simple procedure and you'll get the equation of a circle, and that certain procedure is you take any two pairs, let's say AB and AC, and then you find their perpendicular bisectors, and then you find the equation of their perpendicular bisectors, and then you equate them. That will give you the center of the circle, and from there on you can find the radius too. So for example, if we take AB, then its gradient will be 11 minus 7 over 7 minus 5, that's 2. Then that would mean that the perpendicular of AB would be minus half, and you can take the midpoint, which will be 6 comma 9, and use that to find the plus c. So you would have the equation of the perpendicular bisector of AB. Do the same for either AC or even BC, and then you can equate them to find the equation, to find the center of the circle, and from there on you can calculate the equation. And so this question is the same as this one, and you can do the same procedure. Find the perpendicular bisectors, equate, and you get the equation QED. Bye bye. Of course, I'm kidding. The only problem is that if you follow this same procedure, you would not get to the answer. So let's just try to solve it the same way. So we have 7 1, 7 9, and 1 9. If we take, let's say, if we take AB, then we have 9 minus 1 over 7 minus 7. Well, this is 8 over 0. This is not something you can get, not something you can calculate or work with. And if you do, let's say, BC, then this would be 9 minus 9 over 7 minus 1 is 0 over 6. Well, this would be equal to 0, but when you're trying to find the perpendicular of BC, this would be minus 1 over 0, which is again something that you cannot calculate. The only gradient that you can calculate here is perhaps AC, right? But you cannot do anything with just one equation of line. And this is what would happen if you just blindly follow the procedure. Now if you look at the diagram, if you draw a diagram and you look at it, it would be pretty clear why this thing does not work. So here's our circle, and here's point A. Okay, so there's 7 1, 7 9, so this would be 7 1, this is B, this would be 7 9, this C, this would be 9 1. So you see here, this is a 7 and this is also a 7. In other words, the only thing that has changed is the y value. So this is a perfectly vertical line, and by the same logic, here's your 9, here's this should be 1 9. So here's your 9, here's your other 9. In other words, only the x value is changing. So this is a horizontal line. I know it doesn't look like it because of the diagram, but this is a horizontal line. So actually, let me go ahead and make a proper horizontal line. Okay, good enough. So you see, since this is a horizontal line, its perpendicular will be a vertical line, and you cannot have the gradient of a vertical line because that's infinite. And by the same logic, this is a vertical line, this itself won't have a gradient, and its perpendicular would be a horizontal line with gradient 0. So when you look at the perpendicular bisectors of these two, let's say we look at the perpendicular bisector of BC. Well, this point would be 4 comma 9. If we go a bit up, let's say over here, this would be 5 9. This would be 410. If you go a bit more up, this would be 411 and so on. And of course, if we go beneath it, it would be something like 48 and so on, so on. And we know that this line passes through the center of the circle. Oh, if you take the perpendicular bisector of any chord, it passes through the center of the circle. So since since this is a vertical line, every x value is 4. We know that the center will also have the x value 4. And if you continue on with the same logic over here, that if you take the perpendicular bisector like this point would be 7 comma 5. If you go a bit more up, maybe over here, this would be, let's say, 11 comma 5. And of course, if you go to the left, this would be something like 7 comma 4 and so on. Sorry, 4 comma 5 and so on. In other words, this origin will have the y coordinate 5. So the x coordinate is 4, y coordinate is 5, and you are pretty much done. You know the center. You can find the radius by connecting it to any of the 3 points, and you are done. So if you wanted to follow the same procedure of taking perpendicular bisectors, this is the way you could do it. And actually there's another interesting way to do it, and that's the following. So let me draw a new circle. And we saw how before that this is a horizontal line, this is a vertical line, and so this would mean that they make a 90 degree. So if I connect these two, then what you will realize is that this line passes through the origin. In fact, this line is exactly midway between these 2 points. So these 2 points are supposed to be A and C. This is supposed to be B. The center is exactly the midpoint of AC, because this is the property of the circle, that if you take a diameter, of course it will touch the circle at 2 points, and then you connect it to any other point on the circumference of the circle, then it will make a 90 degree. So it we know it makes a 90 degree because this is a horizontal and vertical line. In other words, AC must be the diameter. So what we can really do is we can find the midpoint of AC, and that would be your origin. So A was 7 comma 1 and C was 1 comma 9. The midpoint of AB should be 1 plus 7 divided by 2 and 9 plus 1 divided by 2. In other words, it is 4 comma 5, exactly what we also reached to. And of course, what you can further on do is you can either calculate the distance from midpoint of AC to any of the 2 points, or calculate the distance between AC and divide by 2. So this would be 7 minus 1 squared plus 9 minus 1 squared. This would be the square root of 6 squared plus 8 squared. This would basically just be 10. So AC is 10. So that would mean, in other words, the diameter is 10. So the radius would be 5. So essentially you have the center, you have the radius. So you can just say x minus 5 whole squared plus y, x minus 4 whole squared plus y minus 5 whole square is equal to 25, and you are done. QED.